been replaced by the off spin of Maddie, and he's going to come into bowl to Guptill. Well, we know he's a quality spinner, but in New Zealand conditions he's never quite been as effective as he is in his home country, and that goes for a lot of bowlers, I suppose. They make their name in their own personal conditions. He's never really been able to develop his talent in overseas conditions. Good chance for him here as he prepares to bowl to Guptill, who drives down towards long on, and that was a feature of the batting of Guptill in the last game, wasn't it? And some of the other players at the top of the order for New Zealand, the way they just milked the runs through straight by playing in the V.
Yeah, I think he's been brought on here probably more to try and bowl at Henry Nicholls. Got him, dismissed him in the first game, dragged one on, and like you say, without a lot of spin, it's going to be difficult for him to bowl, especially to Guptill inside the first 10 overs with only 2 fieldsmen out.
Well, Maddie's going to go round the wicket to bowl to Nicholls, as you would expect, the left-hander on strike, and he comes in from the far end. Nicholls back onto his stumps, plays firmly into the onside. The bowler quickly across to pick up, and there's no run for him. Didn't turn much, but it was the pace 85 he bowls that. It'll be interesting to see whether he varies that pace to any great degree. Here he is again to Nicholls, worked into the onside and fielded at mid-wicket by a man who doesn't need to wear a hat, Saif Udin. He decides that cap or hat not necessary. Here's his next delivery to Nicholls, and Nicholls just gently nudges it into the onside, just lets it come to him and almost rebound off the bat as he opened closed down the face as he flicked it into the onside. So a good start by Maddie. He's keeping Nicholls cramped up for his ability to free his arms. He's got a leg stump again, turned away into the onside for 1. Nicholls won't look for any way to go attacking that kind of bowling. He's happy to play the patience game early on. Takes a single. He's 11. Guptill 14. 25 for no wicket. And we're in the 4th over of the New Zealand chase for 227. Maddie bowls again to Guptill, who's on the front foot, just pushing without any follow through up towards mid-on. The end of the 4th over. 25 for none.
Yes, yes, yes! I think I'm one of them. I've been missing out.
What's so exciting about missing out?
I'm one of them, and I didn't know it.
One of who? What are you on about?
Well, there are more than 400,000 Kiwis in default funds within KiwiSaver, and I'm one of them. Although there are no guarantees, if I move my savings to a fund with a potentially high return, I could make my money work even harder. You beauty.
Really? Am I one of them? I hope I'm one of them. I deserve to be one of them. Really, I do.
Check for yourself. Go to isitme.co.nz.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Kennard Tyre. The right equipment for every job.
Masrafi Mortaza gets to bowl again from listed broadcasting in, mainly because he's the captain and he decides he bowls. He goes round the wicket, bowling to Nicholls. First ball of the 5th over, and Nicholls just runs it down towards third man. It'll be picked up just by the edge of the circle by backward point, and a single taken. And that's nice use of the bowler's pace, just letting the ball come to him, playing it very late under the eyes and letting it go down to short third man. Intelligent stuff. 26 for none. Nicholls moves on to 12.
I think given the mood that Martin Guptill looks in, the way he hit that cut shot a couple of overs ago, Brian, I think if Masrafi pitches one up here, I don't think Guptill's going to be shy of trying to launch him back over his head.
Well, we might have to close our window, and if he hits it pretty well, it'll come straight at us. Here's Masrafi bowling to Guptill, who plays off the back foot, just working it into the onside. Saifuddin is the man there to do the fielding. And 26 for no wicket it remains. So New Zealand have set themselves up into a strong position. Should possibly be able to win the game with ease if they get this foundation laid. Guptill waits, Mashrafi bowls to him, and he's on the front foot playing on the up. Good run too. Mid-on is right back on the edge of the circle, and pace taken off it. Check drive. Mamadula has no way of preventing a run from being taken. Guptill is 15, Nicholls is 12. 27 for none. We're in the 5th over.
Guptill he looks like a man who's coming off 100 in the last game, doesn't he? He looks confident, and Black Caps coaches and selectors will be just praying, I think, that his body holds together.
Yes.
Because he's such a valuable part of their one-day side.
Mashrafi bowls to Nicholls, who plays to mid-off. Mamadula's a little bit closer, and so the run is prevented. Well, of course, he scored that 100 in the first game of the series against Sri Lanka, didn't he? And then never really quite continued on with that. I don't know whether he was sort of feeling injury problems, or because he'd only just come back from an injury, hadn't he, and hadn't seen a lot of cricket, but in that last innings up in Hawke's Bay, and then here he certainly looks assured and settled in his early stages of the innings. Mashrafi bowls to Nicholls, and Nicholls punches it back along the pitch to the bowler. Gets no run for it. 27 for no wicket. We're in the 5th over. Crowd enjoying a leisurely afternoon, not much frenetic pace about the game. Looks like lunch was well consumed by all the members sitting down in front of us. Quiet little drink, glass of red, or all the little extras that you can have.
Sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got merit, isn't it?
Some of us got to work, Brian, don't they?
Of course, we continue on. Here's the next delivery from Mashrafi. Bowls to Nicholls. Firmly back along the pitch to the bowler, but no run to end the 5th over. 27 for none after 5. 227 is the target.
Monaco Toyota have the drive-away prices to get you started into 2019. Plus, Monaco Toyota will give you $1,000 worth of free accessories when you buy a new RAV4, CHR, Highlander or Prado. A huge range of new Toyotas, and you choose the free accessories. What a deal! Only at Monaco Toyota, branches at Pukekohe, Papakura and Monaco.
Monaco Toyota, altogether better.
Radio Sport.
And welcome back, where we're going to see Mayadi bowling his off-spin from the Botanic Gardens end to Guptill, who's on 15. And the first ball sees Guptill getting underneath it, and he's hit that over the long on boundary for 6. Straight, and just as you heard Peter Fulton saying that if the ball's pitched up to the faster bowler, he'll have a go. It's been pitched up by the spinner, and Guptill dispatching that easily straight down the ground for 6. Lovely shot.
It was actually quite well bowled. He's not really anywhere near the pitch of that ball, Guptill, but because there's not a lot of spin, he's just able to get underneath it. And as is often the way with the spinner, sometimes when the batsman doesn't quite get to the pitch, it just means it goes longer and further.
Yeah, here's Mayadi bowling flatter and faster and defended by Guptill. I thought he'd got underneath it a lot, actually, and was what we're expecting to see long on getting underneath it, but hit through the ball terrifically, Guptill. 21 for him from 16 deliveries. Nicholls is 12 from the same number of balls. 33 it is, and here's Guptill going over the mid-wicket boundary this time, and Fieldsman is chasing it hard. In fact, he hasn't timed that quite as well as I thought. It bounces a couple of times and is retrieved by Sabir, running from mid-wicket to square leg. So 2 more runs to Guptill. This is what the crowd wants to see, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's obviously decided he's going to be very aggressive here, and like I said, there'll be some entertainment while he's out there.
Here's Mayadi bowling, and Guptill is driving the ball back to the bowler. So some exciting cricket in this over from Guptill. Here he is facing Mayadi again, and he comes down and treats him with respect on this occasion, just pushing the ball to mid-on where Samaya is fielding. Crowd enjoying it here. A lot of people in. It really is. It's the Canterbury crowd have served the province with distinction today. As here's a lovely shot from Guptill getting underneath, another full ball, and this time he hits it over the long off boundary for 6, right up on top of the bank. Lovely shot from Martin Guptill, and suddenly the game's come alive a bit. 41 it is, 6 overs completed. Guptill 29, Nicholls 12.
Special Harvey Norman electrical clearance event final days. Millions of dollars worth of TVs, audio, whiteware, cookware and small appliances must be cleared. Overstocks, end of lines, 2018 models, one-offs, display models, scratched, dented and scoop purchases marked down. Hurry, Harvey Norman clearance event ends Monday.
Does your car need help? We've got you covered with Repco's new catalogue out now. 50% off all Repco coolants or 20% off all Repco high performance and ultra high performance batteries. Repco. It starts with the parts.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Racine. Get a professional finish with Racine.
And it's Mushrafi running in from the Port Hills end, bowling to Nicholls, who's beaten by a good delivery outside the off stump. Just got in close to the left-hander and then just moved away a little bit off the seam. 126 kilometres an hour. I was talking to Jerry off air. You know, that's about the pace that Gavin Larson bowled. And here is Mushrafi opening the bowling for Bangladesh, and a lot of his deliveries around that 115.
Yeah.
He's bowling in pretty good areas though, but
well, like I said, Mustafi's he's their best bowler.
Yeah,
and he hasn't bowled yet, and it's 41 for none after 6 overs.
Here's Mushrafi bowling again, driven back to the bowler. Well, it really looks like he's struggling to get up to the crease. Really,
it looks painful. It looks painful, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Just willing his body to get him there, and then across to England for the World Cup, perhaps. But he's at the top of his mark now, about 30 metres, just on the edge of the circle, and the advertising. Best conditions now. It's warm, around 20 degrees. As Mushrafi bowls, slower delivery, big grunt to emphasise that it's going to be one of his faster ones by his standard, but he holds the ball back a little bit, and nice delivery, 116 Ks. Disguises that quite nicely.
Yeah, well, the only problem is once you've shown the batsman that ball a couple of times, there's not a lot of variation between his effort ball and his slower ball.
10 Ks. Nicholls is on 12 from 19 deliveries. Around the wicket goes Shafi, and it's way down the leg side this time. He's sprayed that. So another run added, 42. That really is a wide delivery from the right-hander. Moving across the left-handed batsman and carrying on. 42 without loss. Just a nice gentle hum around the ground. People have had their lunch, settling into the afternoon well in the best conditions of the day. Here's Mushrafi running in now and bowling to Nicholls, slower delivery as well. A big grunt, and it's pushed into the offside behind the point area for 1, so 43 without loss. Nicholls is 13, Guptill 29. Do you like Nicholls opening the batting?
Oh, look, I don't think it's their preferred option, but I think due to, I guess, Munro's sort of struggles against some of the better sides like India, I think they've almost been forced into it. It does allow them to play an extra all-rounder if Nicholls opens the batting, but you know, he was just starting to develop so well in that middle order role, so.
Here's the next ball is short, and this is a faster delivery, but it doesn't trouble Guptill as he just watches it pass above his right shoulder. 130 Ks an hour, so a real effort ball.
Yeah, I'm just not sure whether against some of the top sides that we're going to come up against in the World Cup, if Henry Nicholls at the top of the order is going to really frighten them. Like I said, he's a very good player, and he's come on a lot in the last couple of years. I just wonder whether he might be more valuable in that middle order than at the top of the order, where, you know, if you can have someone really destructive, it can win you a game in the first 15 overs.
Guptill plays the ball into the onside, no change to the score. I wish they'd tried someone like Will Young in a series like this and just seen how he could go, or even bringing him in against India. That's the end of the over. 7 overs completed, 43 without loss it is. Nicholls is 13, Guptill 29 when Monroe was struggling so much. Just to be a bit more decisive around selection. I think sometimes the strength of the New Zealand side, I think, in their selections during Mike Hesson's reign and when McCullum was captain, was that I think people felt that they were in the team and part of it, and there wasn't too much chopping and changing. But I think that can also become a weakness when players aren't performing.
Yeah, well, I think you're right about Will Young. I mean, I was involved coaching Canterbury during the T20s, and he played an amazing innings in Napier. It was a game CD got 225 and Canterbury finished about 10 or 15 short, but Will Young played an amazing innings against some really good bowlers, Matt Henry and Todd Astle, Kyle Jameson, Edward Nuttall, against a good attack, and he took them apart that day. So yeah, he looks like a classy player. Well, he's always looked like a classy player, but now he's starting to really back it up with some consistent performances. So yeah, it could have been an opportunity to have a look at someone like that.
Well, I think the risk, people talk about Latham as well, and I can understand that with his pedigree and success in terms of test opening, but then you're taking out the best player of spin and putting him up at the top of the order. Here's a change in the bowling. We're going to see the left armour Mustafis bowling, and the ball is turned by Nicholls into the onside for 1 run. He's 14, it's 44 without loss. So I would really like to have seen Young being given a go. I'd also, I'd like to see him have a look during the Test series against Bangladesh. One of the things that worries me, and I said at the end of the series with Sri Lanka, is Monroe worried me because in the one-day games I always see him as very good against poor sides and struggling against the really good sides, and the more that he has to think about the game and the more pressure that comes on him, the less he seems able to perform. And in the same way, looking at Raval in Test cricket, averaging 23 and 7 tests last year. He's got a Test average of 34, but the last 7 he's averaged 23, and that includes that 74 in the last innings against Sri Lanka here. Here's Mustafa's running in now and bowling to Guptill, who's turning the ball square of the wicket. 1 more run, 45 without loss. Guptill is 30. And when you look at Australia, India and England coming up, they're some very useful opening attacks, and if players are not getting runs against Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and those sorts of teams, it is time to make changes. Yeah, well, look, I think there's some valid points there. I think if Guptill and Nicholls are going to open, then Guptill has to be probably a little bit more aggressive than he has in the past. Otherwise, we won't be getting off to fast enough starts, which creates risk as Nicholls is playing the ball into mid-wicket. No change to the score. And the strength, I guess, of the Guptill-McCullum partnership was that McCullum would take a lot of the early risks, generate the strike rate, allow Guptill to play himself in, and then once Guptill gets himself in, we know how destructive he can be. But batting with Henry Nicholls, I think it's going to have to almost be the other way around a little bit. I think that's a really good point that you make, and I think that Guptill is a player who does enjoy time at the start. He's a terrific striker of the ball. Here's Nicholls onto the back foot. Fieldsman getting underneath it and takes the catch inside the square leg boundary, just inside it. And that's a curse for Nicholls, as he got a short delivery from the left armour and pulled the ball down to the square leg boundary, and it's a nice catch taken by Dash back there. Just had to go back a couple of paces, get underneath it, hold his position just in front of the boundary rope, and Nicholls, well, the experiment not working today. He's out for 14. It's 45 for 1. Yeah, he'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I think, Henry Nicholls. It was a between. He didn't really try to hit the ball up and hit it for 6, and he didn't try to keep it on the ground. So, like I said, he'll look at that, and when he sits down, takes his gear off, he'll be kicking himself a little bit, because against this attack on this pitch, there was a great opportunity to back up his 50 from the first game. So he'll be disappointed. We'll take a break with the score 45 for 1 in the 8th over.
Monaco Toyota have the drive-away prices to get you started into 2019. Plus, Monaco Toyota will give you $1,000 worth of free accessories when you buy a new RAV4, CHR, Highlander or Prado. A huge range of new Toyotas and you choose the free accessories. What a deal! Only at Monaco Toyota. Branches at Pukekohe, Papakura and Monaco.
Monaco Toyota, all together better.
Radio Sport.
45 for 1 it is, and it is going to be the New Zealand captain Williamson on strike to Mustafis, who's picked up a wicket with his fourth delivery. Here he is bowling, and it's Guptill rather, who's turning the ball into the onside. The batsman crossing, of course, with the dismissal of Nicholls. So Guptill with that single is 31. Mustafis is 1 for 3 from 5 deliveries, and already in the short time that he's been at the bowling crease, he looks to be the best of them. A left armour, nice, not a particularly tall bowler, but a nice release, and the seam position is good. As he releases it, he seems to have rhythm, and it looks live, and it gets to the crease in a nice easy fashion. Here's Williamson, who by his standards has not had the best of starts to the year, looking for he's got a real opportunity here to bat his way through to the end with a not out score. Here's Williamson onto the back foot, gets a shorter ball which he turns into the onside. It's picked up there by Mahdi, and there's just 3 runs coming from the over. So 1 for 3 from Mustafis. Williamson is 0. Guptill 31, and Nicholls out. Caught by Dash on the backward square leg boundary, pulling at a ball from Mustafis and being caught nicely in that position behind square. Jeremy Coney's back in, and I think in terms of the opening conundrum, I think we've still got doubts, haven't we? You know, it's really interesting because I see that. Yeah, well, again, I've said to
well, it's been too small a number of surveys for me. You know, there hasn't been enough.
But it's a commitment to the World Cup, isn't it? In this way.
Now that they've made that decision, you have to stay with Nicholls, I think.
I think you do too. And I don't think it's the right decision. It's not a criticism of him. He's done very well in the middle of it. Oh, here's a shot from Guptill to a shorter delivery from Mushrafi, which is just climbing on the batsman a little bit. Got some glove and it went up over the keeper's head down to the boundary for 4. Not in complete control, but another boundary for Guptill. He's 35.
Yeah, well bowled, Mushrafi. He drew a false stroke from Guptill, who's looked in very good form, really. That one's taken kind of around the top of the gloves and gone over the keeper, so he just surprised him with a wee bit of bounce. It was through onto him a bit quicker than he imagined.
Here is Mushrafi bowling outside the off stump. Williamson, Guptill plays no shot.
See, for example, there's one more game in this series which will be in Dunedin coming up, I think, Wednesday, and I think, of course, this is Williamson's last bat. So Munro comes in, and I think that the logic says that Nicholls should open in that game with Guptill, and that Munro should bat 3.
Yep. Here's Mushrafi bowling to Guptill. Comes forward, drives over the extra cover area. Hasn't timed it perfectly, but it's going to get across the boundary for 4. A shot of authority, not executed perfectly, but 39 for Guptill, 54 for 1.
Yes, it's just the lack of pace from Mushrafi, really, that's allowing Guptill anything that's up to him or a little bit wide of the off stump he's into very, very quickly, because it's not bouncing enough really for, unless he really digs it in as he did that previous ball. There's not going to be the support for him from this surface.
Here he is now bowling to Guptill, just a bit shorter on this occasion. Guptill goes back and plays the ball into the onside.
I'm sure there'll be people thinking, well, no, Munro's coming back, he's an opener, he should go in there and crash it round at the top. Whereas I think really Munro, if he's going to make this side now, is cast, once you've made the change to Nicholls, that he has now got to take a middle order, anywhere from 3 to 6, 7.
Guptill is onto the back foot, turning the ball square of the wicket or just behind square for 1 run. Williamson running through and thinking about a second. Guptill is 40, 55 for 1.
So Nicholls just keeps on opening. He's just got to keep on opening. So that's the way they've made their choice, and they've made that because they have given themselves no other choice.
Yep, indeed. And I think they had a number of other options available to them.
Well, they could have tried.
To try. Yep. Anyway, it is what it is. As Williamson is taking strike now down at the Botanical Gardens end, just doing a few of those, that running on the spot, flicking his feet up to his backside.
I mean, this is the man really that New Zealand would like to see get some runs.
A lot.
Because Williamson hasn't had, by his lofty standards, a good year at all.
No, he's looked strangely out of sorts, as a wide ball outside the off stump means that the 9th over has come to an end. It's 55 from 9 overs, 1 batsman out. Nicholls out for 14, Guptill is 40, Williamson has yet to score the target 227.
And I think it's been a head thing. It's been an issue of just mental sort of decision making for Kane Williamson. I mean, we know that he's got the shots there, we know that he's got the class there, and he won't be down for a long time, but this is longer than I would have thought, and he's been out sweeping twice to a ball and missing it and getting LBW. He's holed out twice in games, and that's very unlike him, actually. So whether other things are getting to him,
well, I wonder
whether about the team and all that sort of thing, and it just is a little bit odd. We're starting to see him play through across the line slightly with the bat.
And here's Guptill onto the back foot, turning a ball behind square for 1. He's 41, 56 for 1. Also, that shot that he used to play, and he'd played in all forms of the game, where the ball would be just running away.
Teams have stopped
absolutely.
that now.
But he's stopped it, and it's interesting because that was a shot that he played with great effect. Played it in all forms.
But you can see straight away that they're going to put another man in there now. So they're going to keep the slip in for Williamson, and they're going to put the man into that. They've got 3 men there at this stage.
Yeah, but I saw in the Indian series he started to look to want to do that again. Here's the left arm bowling, Williamson onto the back foot. No real timing as he clips the ball to Saifuddin, but he started to look to. At times he was finding himself going into that mode again, and then almost kicking himself for it, because the confidence wasn't there to play the shot. Whereas when he's been absolutely at the top of his game, it's almost like he could play it at will anywhere in that line, and he was just able to drop the ball and run it for 1. And he was one of the few players to play that shot and to play it as well. It was always without danger. Here's danger as he pushes at a ball from the stuff outside the off stump, and he played it just pulled away inside the line, but a bit of uncertainty.
Well, Mustafa's is a bit more of a challenge, really, because he's got a variety of sort of cutters and swinging deliveries. He sometimes, because he's slightly right-armed, skids on a little bit more, doesn't hit the seam, so it hits the soft part of the ball, or the smooth part of the ball, in other words. So it skids on. So he's got a variety of deliveries.
And I think actually watching on replay, Williamson did play at that last one, so he was beaten outside the off stump. This time he's letting a ball fly through and content not to play it. So Mushfiqur takes the ball behind the stumps for Bangladesh. Yeah, when you see him even playing and missing at a ball from this bowler just early in, again it was quite a wee way away from the stumps, and he's still drawn into playing those shots, following the ball a bit, because and uncertainty creates that, of course, and we just haven't seen it with Williamson before. Here he is getting off the mark as the ball comes into his pad, so Mustafa does him a favour by drifting into those legs, and he turns the ball behind square, picks up a brace. So 58 for 1 ball remaining in the 10th over. Lots of glasses of wine being carried down in front of us. It's a lovely scene and a lovely time of year, and getting the odd whiff. A lot of rosé being drunk in Jeremy. It's become very fashionable.
De rigueur, do you think?
Oh, de rigueur,
yes.
Right. I'm resisting. Yes, Mustafa's running in and bowling. And again, Williamson will have a run as he turns the ball behind square. I can leave you with that.
It's a general
thought.
comment, is it, or is it more specific while you're commentating?
Just the rosé.
Okay.
59 for 1. 10 overs completed.
At Celtx, high fives could win you a share of $70,000 in prizes. There are over 250 chances to win. Just fuel up at Celtx and play high five for prizes to be in to win. See in store for details. T's and C's apply.
Do you want a great job today? We've been employing great Kiwis just like you for over 22 years, and our business is getting you working. TradeStaff's the New Zealand company that has jobs, lots of jobs. Tradestaff.co.nz.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Photo Warehouse. Local ownership. Nationwide coverage. The Photo Store with more.
59 for 1, 168 runs still required. The run rate for New Zealand is 5.9, so they've started in good fashion in terms of getting a foundation laid, particularly with the 45-run opening partnership. Now working through Williamson and Guptill as Masrafi continues. 5 overs for 26 he's bowled. His 6th over from the broadcasting end. He goes into Williamson, and Williamson gets an edge down towards third man, guiding it down there really as it came from the edge, and sort of thick outside edge, wasn't it?
Yeah, flirting with the slip in there, Brian, though, isn't it? Just a wee bit. Certainly the bowler was very interested.
Yes, well, it does justify, I suppose, having a slip and give you encouragement to try it again. 60 for 1. Williamson is 4. Guptill 41.
Well, he can't bowl too full here, mid-on and mid-off, up on the circle edge, because Guptill will be into him quickly with the drive.
Well, Masrafi bowls again to him. Short, and he goes through the offside out towards the cover region. Chase for the man at backward point. Will get it just inside the boundary. Will he? No, he's tipped it over the boundary. Long run for the player out in the deep, and he got his hand to it to keep it back, then pushed it onto another hand and over the boundary rope. Good bit of work. I think that might have been, is that Lytton Dash?
I think it is too.
Never mind, it went for 4. Guptill, power game today, 45 from 31. It was Mohamed El Haq, was it?
Well, that's 68. He was certainly.
He must be on substituting. 45, Guptill waits for Masrafi again. This one has him turning into the onside. It'll be a single out towards square leg mid-wicket region, and the man in that part of the ground is Darcy's on the leg side. So one more to Guptill makes him 46. Almost time for the trivia quiz for the afternoon. Chance to get into the draw to go to.
Must be a few people now.
MCG, yeah, well, however many days we've done it.
Yeah, I know.
There's one for every day.
Asking.
Yeah. I haven't got the list. Someone else has got the list. But we're going to have another one today. Here's Masrafi bowling to Williamson, and Williamson works in the onside to mid-wicket. And there's no run. So a chance to get into the draw to go to the Boxing Day test at the MCG. And that's going to be held on Boxing Day this year, which is a good time to have the Boxing Day test. And you've got an hour to get in the answer. 5009. The question is, normally a test opener for New Zealand. He batted at number 3 and was man of the match in a one-day international against Bangladesh in Napier 12 years ago. His innings of 83 came off 93 balls. Here's the next delivery to Williamson, who goes over the top of the infield, out towards the cover sweeper, and that man out there, Mohamed Al-Haq, who's probably preparing himself for the Test match series, was there to do the fielding. One more to the New Zealand total. Williamson is 5, Guptill 46.
You better repeat that for me again, Brian.
Okay. Normally a Test opener for New Zealand. He batted at number 3 and was man of the match in a one-day international against Bangladesh in Napier 12 years ago. An innings of 83 came off 93 balls. New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 102 runs.
Okay.
Here's Masrafi bowling to Guptill, and Guptill pulls a short ball way under the onside, out towards mid-wicket, and the fieldsman dived to get it on that side of the ground and grabbed it.
Him hit those sixes. He's got probably a couple of overs just to get himself in here, and then just working the ball around, and then let his skill just take over.
71 for 1. Mustafa's about to bowl to Guptill on 50 from 33 deliveries, and this one has him. Oh, bounce, a good one too. He ducked away from it. Through to Mustafa. Okay, that question 5009 is where you text MCG to get the entry in. Normally a Test opener for New Zealand. He batted at number 3 and was man of the match in a one-day international against Bangladesh in Napier 12 years ago. An innings of 83 of 93 balls as New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 102 runs. He entered?
Okay. No, not yet. I don't know. Did he play a lot of ODI cricket?
Oh, a few games. He the next delivery is turned away on the onside. I think you'll remember when I tell you he was next to bat when McCullum and Jamie Howe scored 90 off 6 overs at Queenstown. Remember when we chased?
I do remember that game.
So, yeah, well, he was next to bat.
So I know who it is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
5009. There you go.
And you've given enough information
There's enough
someone who doesn't know, they could actually find out.
They can find that out, yeah. I think the commentary team have all got entries in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Garth Galloway will have it, won't he? Even though he's not here and hasn't heard the question.
He's
working on it as we speak.
He wants to go to the MCG badly. Like a lot of people, I guess.
Really badly.
Yeah.
Mustafa's. It's a bowl from the Botanic Gardens end to Williamson. 6. Wait for the next delivery, and he chops it away to the offside. Mistimes it out towards Masrafi, who moves around like a young child in the field.
I think what New Zealand need to do here, having given the bowlers the chance to work their way through an entire innings, is the batsmen now, they've got to try and get this total relatively quickly, if I could put it that way. In other words, try to put a bit more intensity and pressure on themselves so that they get some benefit out of this game as well. Don't want to just take up to sort of 46th, 47th over to try and knock these runs off. They've got to get there much quicker here today.
Mustafa's bowls to Williamson, and Williamson drives into the offside. That's a good stroke out towards the cover sweeper. There's only one for him, but it was a controlled stroke, and I think that's what we need to see from Williamson, the ability to score in games and win games by playing in the orthodox fashion, which we haven't always seen.
Not this year.
Yeah, he's got out to some strokes that were inventive, that don't normally come in what we regard his repertoire. Guptill looks comfortable and confident. 51 from 35. Waits for Mustafa, who's going to go round the wicket to him, and his delivery is short, and he stands up on his toes and guides it away to backward point, fielded there by Chabir, and the over comes to an end. 12 bowled. 73 for 1.
Just shows you the difference that a decent innings, how the change in somebody. I mean, Guptill today, right from the start, was looking very aggressive. He's sending the very strong message to the bowlers: if you are slightly offline or if you're a bit short or full, I'm into you. And that makes bowlers generally just a little bit uncertain. It makes them, think very carefully about the sort of fields that they want to bowl to. And that's exactly what he's done so far. And he did not allow Maedy to settle at all today. He was into him right from the first over. He was into Mashrafi pretty quickly as well, and he's now having a spell after 6 overs, and I think he'll do that right throughout this innings. So he's away and running now, and the batter's coming a little bit straighter. There's more power to his shots.
Saifuddin comes back into the attack in place of Mashrafi. Bowls are wide. The first ball to Williamson, well wide of the off stump, taken by Mushfiqur, 74 for 1. So Mashrafi bowled 6 overs, no maidens, none for 37. A little bit expensive. Saifuddin conceded 11 off his first. Perhaps he was bowling from an end he didn't want to be operating from, so he's come in now and replaces the captain at the bowling crease. Williamson waits for the next delivery from the medium fast bowler, and this delivery has him guiding it to backward point. Hit on the bounce up towards the man fielding in that position. Sat up nicely for him, almost bounced over his head. New Zealand's target is 227. Earlier today they were able to dismiss Bangladesh for 226. Here's the next delivery to Williamson again. Guided away to backward point where it's fielded by Shabir, and there's no run. Tamim Iqbal 5, Dash 1, Sumaya 22, Mushfiqur 24, Mithun 57, Mamadullah 7, Shabir Rahman 43, Maedy 16, Saifuddin 10, and Mashrafi 13. Mustafiz was 5 not out, 23 extras, 17 wides in the 23 extras. Here's the next delivery to Williamson, driven up towards mid-off where it's fielded, and there's no run. That's an area of concern, I think, for New Zealand. 17 wides added to the score, 226. I don't know how many extra deliveries were scored from.
It'll cost them a game if they continue to do that.
So 226. Henry 1 for 30. Bolt 1 for 49, de Grandhomme 1 for 25 from 4, Ferguson 3 for 43, Astle 2 for 52. Here's the next delivery to the right-handed Williamson, who plays into the offside, and there's no run. Ferguson, so 3 for 43, Astle 2 for 52, Neesham bowled 5 overs, 2 for 21. Not a bad spell from Neesham today, did a pretty useful job. Bowling at the death, he bowled 3 overs and then 2 overs and 4 balls in the last 10, and going for 3.7 is pretty effective. Bowling to the lower half of the order, but you just got to take on who is there to bowl to. Here's Saifuddin, bowls to Williamson again, defence in mind as he runs it off to Shabir at backward point. That's another dot in the over, so the only run so far has come from a wide. 74 for 1. New Zealand have lost 1 wicket in their opening partnership of 45. Man out Nicholls was caught by Dash from the bowling of Mustafiz for 14. That came from 23 deliveries. Guptill in dominant form at the non-striker's end at the moment as Saifuddin bowls to Williamson, and once more he defends, just dropping it on the ground away to the offside. The end of the over, 13 bowled, 74 for 1.
Many couples use romantic music to get them in the mood for love. But will it work on the endangered Kakapo? At Meridian, we're helping the Department of Conservation by getting a saxophonist to record a sexy tune to help get Kakapo in the mood. We're aware this technique is unproven, but with only 147 birds left, we reckon it's worth a punt. Show your support by donating to Kakapo Recovery or downloading this song free at meridian.co.nz/Saxy.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Rosine Woodsman. Bring out the best in your weatherboards, decks and fences.
So we've got Mustafa's to continue. 3 overs for 10, and he's the only wicket taker at the moment. As we mentioned earlier, the best bowler within the Bangladesh ranks didn't get to open up. Came in, well, after a couple of overs.
Is Rubel Hussain, is he injured or something that he can't
no, I
make
think
it?
He's basically sort of a backup and a test bowler more than
is that right?
He's Mustafa's round the wicket to Guptill, forcing him back onto his stumps and guiding it down.
But he's a wicket taker, isn't he?
Yeah, well, clearly they don't see him as an option.
Maybe he's not the batsman of some of these guys who are bowling.
Maybe.
Don't know.
Again, they're probably going through the same process that New Zealand are, just testing out their options. They won't have many more games in which to decide what their leading option's going to be when it comes to the World Cup. I'm not sure what the final date for naming squads and revealing them is. There'll be a set date in the manual of ICC, which is probably about that thick. And for those people not on radio, here's a turn into the onside. That's probably about 2 tomes. Thick. They'll have pages, and it'll be in different languages. So it won't just be in English. There'll be a rules and regulation book. You see them coming around here, you know, the events management people for these games.
Oh, looking at the various grounds?
Well, no, just the ones who are running this game. You know, and all the bits of paper in the folder that they have, just to make sure they meet the requirements of health and safety. ICC. Here's Mustafa's bowling to Guptill short. That's got to be a wide, surely. Yes, it is. Signalled by Maria Rasmus from square leg. So picked up there by umpire Sean Haig at the bowler's end. 75 for 1. Yeah, they have a lot of rules and regulations that they have to strictly adhere to, which includes being out to the toss half an hour before the start of the game. Don't think that Mashrafi made it this morning in time, but they didn't toss before him. 75 for 1. Here's Mustafa's bowls to Guptill, who runs it down towards backward point. Shabir's there to do the fielding if there's no run. It's the interesting part about all that, it's all done for television, as you know, the toss, and everything has to wait for television to do it, except for Mashrafi, who was about 5 minutes late, and they had to change the whole order of their program. They had to do the pitch report before the toss on TV, and then they did the toss.
Shockwaves?
Yeah, I'm sure that will.
The very core of TV and Sky.
Somebody's job will be on the line, I'm sure. Probably Mashrafi's. 75 for 1. Mustafa's bowls to Guptill, who goes onto the offside, down towards deep backward point, third man. It'll be fielded down there by Mamadullah, and he'll come back with 2. It was a sort of a sweeping back cut, wasn't it? Hard to explain. He just leant across and let the ball take the bat and be guided down towards third man. Now he's having a look at his bat. No, he hasn't broken another one.
Not happy with it.
Well, Colin Munro couldn't play because he broke all his bats in Hamilton, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't allowed. I think the 4th one he wasn't allowed to get it, actually.
Exactly. Mustafa's bowls to Guptill, and Guptill guides it away to backward point. Shabir there to do the fielding, and the score remains 77 for 1. So this is a good tidy over, and quite clearly he's the best bowler within their ranks, isn't he?
And on the back of the last one from Saifuddin, they've put together a little package here. They've got to just keep this going.
Yep. Well, that's runs denial, isn't it? And you stop a man like Guptill who's in full stride. Back over the wicket, most of his bowls to Guptill, who plays out towards deep cover. The man on the boundary is there to do the fielding. The over is at an end. 14 completed, 78 for 1, chasing 227.
Yeah, I think the other thing I noticed about Williamson is he uses that little run down to third man, that shot that you were talking about, Brian, as a kind of a release if he can't do anything else with the delivery. In other words, he can't play his cut or his drive or those sorts of other shots. That's his kind of go-to method of keeping the runs ticking over. And that last over, he was just ending up playing it later and later and later. And then of course you end up running the risk sometimes, as we've seen Williamson dismissed running it actually off the face of the bat. He's hit it right in the middle, but it's run down the face of the bat onto the stumps.
India closed that down, you see.
Yeah, a lot of sides are doing that now for him.
Well, here's Guptill back on strike, over number 15, and Seifert bowls a full-length delivery, which is driven into the ground, bounced over the head of the bowler, and will bring 2 runs. Mamadulla's the man that has to do the fielding. 2 more to Guptill, but he's looking so assured, isn't he, at the moment, Martin Guptill? We don't want it to be the kiss of death, but that innings in Napier
helped him.
Yeah, has given him the confidence and assurance to play the big strokes. He doesn't take any risks.
I think that pitch actually was probably harder to play on than this. It just kept a little bit low and too paced.
56 Guptill. Seifert bowls to him, and he's defending the ball into the offside where it's fielded by the captain, Mashrafi. Well, I mean, the interesting thing with Guptill too was that in those games against India and Sri Lanka, he tended to be playing a little bit away from his body, not really getting into good position. I've noticed in this game, in the last game, he's getting into better position with his foot work and not exposing himself to the difficulties that they were able to expose. Here he is chopping the ball away into the offside powerfully, out towards deep backward point and away to the fence for 4. The cover sweeper was fairly close, but it went so quickly he was not able to do anything about it, and he was a fair way infield too, which didn't help. And the boundary takes Guptill to 60 from 45, 84 for 1 in the 15th over.
Gee, powerful strokes from Guptill. He's dominating this first phase of the New Zealand innings with some cuts and some big drives. Hard to bowl to at the moment.
Seifert bowls to him, and this one has him on the front foot, pushing it out towards the cover sweeper again. This time there's an easy one for him, right from the middle of the bat. And that was played fairly late too, wasn't it? Just a sort of check drive on the offside and opening the face and running it out towards the cover sweeper. 1 more to Guptill, takes him 61. Encouraging signs for New Zealand. Williamson is 7. And already their partnership is worth 40. And Williamson's only got 7 of them. Seifert bowls to Williamson, and Williamson chopped it away to the offside. There'll be a single for him. Mashrafi goes after it, stops it with his size 10 boot, and then picks it up. Question again for you today for the MCG competition. 5009 is the text. Normally a test opener for New Zealand. He batted at number 3 and was man of the match one day international against Bangladesh and Napier 12 years ago. An innings of 83 off 93 balls as New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 102 runs. Who was it? Should have it by now. 86 for 1. Here's the next delivery to Guptill. Turned away on the onside, out towards mid-wicket. No run for him. And the 15th over is completed. Guptill 61. Williamson is 8. 227's the target. 86 for 1.
I remember when I decided to quit. It was the moment I realised I was spending more on ciggies than I was on my car payments. There is nothing cheap about smoking. Quit line. For free non-judgmental support, text QUIT to 4006.
Buy any product from the Nutrilife range and be in to win a Duran ceramic water filter, valued at $250. One in every Health 2000 store. Read label Takers Directed, Vitaco, Auckland.
My family feels better with Health 2000.
Radio Sport.
And it's going to be Williamson on strike, and he will be facing Mustafa's, is it? Let's just have a look and see who's got the ball. But in any case, New Zealand are 86 for 1, 15 overs gone. So the target is 227 to win the game. And it is indeed the left armer who's coming around the wicket to Williamson, who's onto the front foot, and just playing that shot that was such a trademark of him a few seasons ago. Just the ball running off the face of the bat down to third man, where it's fielded by Mahmood. And 87 for 1. So Guptill 61, Williamson is 9. And it's Mustafi's bowling, and Guptill just playing a pretty languid shot, pushing the ball back to mid-on. Just lovely now. It's I think the crowd enjoying the conditions. The sun's out, the jerseys have been removed. It feels like cricketing weather for the first time today, really.
They're beautiful now.
Yeah, it is. Forecasters, bang on. Well done, the Met service. Mustafa runs in and bowls. Guptill onto the back foot, pulling and trying to take a ball from outside the off stump. There's an appeal by Samaya, is it? Sabir at backward point. He's very keen. In fact, are they going to go and have a look? They are. So there you are. That was a very straightforward pull shot. No excitement from anyone except Sabir at backward point.
He's obviously got a lot of influence in this side.
I haven't seen that before. Not even the wicket keeper.
No, he wasn't. The
bowler was uninterested. The bowler uninterested. But Sabir at backward point. Well, this could be a massive win for him.
Well, yes. He's worth his place in the side if he gets the wicket here. Yes, Mustafa's didn't argue.
No, he didn't. No bowler does. Here we go. So here's the pull shot. Well, it's gone over the top of the... It just doesn't... There's just nothing to it, is there?
No, we'll have to, it's a Snicko thing, which is always difficult. You always feel... Snicko, of course, is a little microphone that sits behind the middle stump and picks up. It's a generic kind of one. It's not as if it's specific to the bat or anything like that. It's just any noise that goes on. It could be a scrape of a boot. It could be anything at all. And it's going past.
And Snicko hasn't. There's not even not a blip in that. So I'm afraid Sabir at backward point. I think that's you. You've had your chance.
You will never
again.
No. That's right.
Just an extraordinary thing to see backward point running in. How was that? How was that?
You batted 7 today. You're 9 tomorrow.
And then into Dunedin, yeah, you might not play. 61 for Guptill, Williamson 9. And I think Sabir will be sent to the doctor for a hearing test. Please check him out and the eyes while you're at it, having watched him bat. Here's Mustafi's running in and bowling short onto the back foot as Guptill. Beautiful shot through the offside for 4. Lovely crisp strike of the ball from Guptill. It was uppish, but away between the two fieldsmen, and Guptill picks up his 8th 4, 2 sixes in his 65. It's 91 for 1.
Yeah, neither a cut or a back foot kind of punch because of the left arm operating and from over the wicket. The angle's always going away from Guptill, so it's kind of a half a cut and half a back foot punch, and it's just flowing. He's hitting the ball very powerfully.
Yes.
It was in the air, and a few of them have been aerial, but he's found the gaps.
Mustafi's bowls, and Guptill comes forward and says no, and you will have heard that through the microphone. Nice and loud. 1 ball remaining in the 16th over. It was a lovely shot because it was, the placement was deliberately between those two. I don't mind seeing him hitting the ball upishly like that if he's striking it as hard as that. And he's
if he's up and
confident.
I'd like to say if he's going to go up
and over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just take the man out of play. Don't hit the ball through that area at man height, if you like. I think you've got to be above that. But it is going very fast.
Guptill faces again short onto the back foot. Sabir is trying to redeem himself.
Game. I think I mentioned it was the sophomores versus the rookies, which is what it has been in the past. It's now the world team up against the USA team as we just get going in the
fourth square. We're good like that.
Tear up the old script. It all starts now. Raise the roof, raise the noise, raise the stakes. Blues versus Crusaders tonight at Eden Park. Tickets from Ticketmaster.
Radio Sport.
What is amazing?
Amazing to me is probably the unexpected, and also the surprise element is always very important when you're working with design, and especially something that's crafted like clothing.
Adrian Halewood, designer, entrepreneur, Alexis and North Shore customer.
I think it's that unexpected that is amazing. I think it's something that you're offering a customer that they wouldn't really expect.
Experience amazing. Experience Alexis of North Shore on Link Drive.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Razine Cool.
starting to peak for that. It's a terrific sport, and we have a lot of enjoyment watching the regattas down at Ruataniwha, and all of the schools get to know a lot of the parents. It's very social for the parents, Peter. So
yes, I've heard that.
Encourage our daughters to keep going.
Yeah, wow, exactly.
Keep at it for us.
Yep.
And I've got to know the Twizel landscape, which has been very enjoyable indeed. It's almost losing its unknown status with lots of development going on in that region, but it's a lovely part of the world. We're going to see another change in the bowling here as Samaya is going to come on and bowl some of his right arm medium pace. So it's 112 for 1. Bangladesh giving lots of bowlers a run. It's Williamson on strike to Samaya. Short delivery and very friendly indeed, and Williamson's onto the back foot and pulling the ball to Dash on the mid-wicket boundary. One more run to Williamson. He's 18. Guptill 73. Nicholls the man out for 14.
As you said, Garth, fairly friendly that first delivery. I don't think he's going to be scaring anyone with that sort of pace.
No, Nicholls will be looking, thinking, I wish I was out there now. I wish I was batting at 5. Here's Samaya running in the bowling. Mind you, might not get a bat as Guptill's onto the back foot, plays a lovely back foot drive, and it's racing across this lovely turf here at the Hagley Oval. It's retrieved though by Taman, who has fielded in that mid-off position all day, and Guptill will run 3. So good running from the New Zealand opening batsman. He's 76, and as you said at the start of his innings, looks like a player in form.
Yeah, he does. We were mentioning earlier how he's struggled with a few injuries, picking up some hamstring and calf injuries, but when he's in form and playing well, you'd almost argue he's just as important to the New Zealand one-day team as Williamson and Taylor.
Absolutely, and particularly if at the other end. Here's Williamson going onto the back foot, gets a short ball from Samaya, just bread and butter for Williamson, onto the back foot, and pulls it square of the wicket for 4. A real shot of authority from Kane Williamson. He's 22, 120 for 1. Well, I think if he's not in form and not getting runs, I think it affects the team a lot as well. They do rely on him, and they're entitled to. He's a world-class opening batsman in one-day international cricket, and I think this innings, the first innings, 100 against Bangladesh, and this one will be very important in setting him up when they head away in June. Here's Samaya bowling again. Williamson onto the back foot, easy run. As Ashrafi runs very slowly indeed, both hips creaking away. Everything looks painful. 1-2, 1 for 1. Williamson 23, Guptill 76. I can feel it with arthritic knees.
Like I said, it does. It looks so painful. He almost, I think, he seems to be limping even just when he's walking.
Yeah, I think there'll be a long, painful post-cricket career, really. It's going to be tough as the next ball's played into the onside. Just looking at the body taking a battering in this game.
I think he's a politician.
Is he?
I think he's in the Bangladeshi parliament. I think I heard in the last few days. I think he got elected with 98% of the vote in his electorate. So
nothing to do with being a professional cricketer. Here he is onto the back foot. Guptill playing another beautiful shot. This time Tamim at mid-off can make some ground to his left and retrieve the ball, meaning that Guptill gets 1 and retains the strike. He's 77 not out. Williamson 23, 122 for 1. And Samaya's first over less than impressive, costing 10 runs. Well, Imran Khan's the great Pakistani all-rounder who's heavily involved in politics in Pakistan, and that would take courage.
yeah, definitely.
Very different world indeed, and a tough one fraught with division, as Williamson is at the non-strikers end on 23. Nicholls made 14. Ashrafi 6 overs none for 37. Saifuddin 4 overs none for 27. Mayadi, the off spinner, came on early, 2 overs none for 16. Mustafis 5 overs 1 for 19. Sabir 1 over none for 13 in fact, and Samaya 1 over none for 10. So what have we got? Is it Mahadi back into the attack?
Mamadullah, is it? Mahadi.
I think it's let's just have a look. First ball is brisk and sees the batsman coming forward. It is Mahady. Just a medium pace delivery to Guptill for the first one. No turn for him. Here he is now running past umpire Haig, and this time the ball's turned to mid-wicket. Guptill just looks like he's having a look, and anything stray, or maybe not stray, he's going to tee off soon. That's the impression. He's on 77 as Mahady bowls, and this is onto the back foot, and it sees him turning the ball square. Oh no is the cry, as they might have been thinking about a second run, but Sumaya fielding on the boundary at mid-wicket made good pace to the ball. 1, 2, 3 for 1. Williamson 23 and now on strike. Bright sunshine, still plenty of cloud around, but the sun's poking through some blue sky, and it's pretty lovely conditions, and a very good crowd indeed have come to watch Bangladesh and New Zealand. Mahady bowls, and it's driven down to long on by Williamson. He's 24, 124 for 1. 227 is the target for New Zealand. They should do it in a canter. They've got 30 overs remaining after this as Guptill comes forward, drives uppishly past the bowler, Mahady, and picks up another run. It's all looking very easy indeed for these New Zealand batsmen.
Yeah, they're just milking the bowling really at the moment, and doesn't appear as if either of them are going to be dismissed unless they contribute to that dismissal.
As Williamson is not doing so on that occasion, he gets a ball which is short and into his pads, and he just flicks it or turns it to Sumaya on the boundary at mid-wicket, who jogs in quickly as if he wants to have another over and try and improve on his last one, which cost 13 runs. So 126 for 1 it is after 20 overs. Williamson is 25, Guptill is 79, and Mahady has bowled at 3 overs, none for 20. More comments from Peter Fulton and then Brian Waddle.
I think just watching that over from Mahady, the problems, or illustrates the problem that Bangladesh are going to have with their bowling attack in New Zealand, is that on New Zealand surfaces that aren't generally conducive to spin, a number of their bowlers are going to be fairly ineffective. I think when you look at the records of someone like Mahady, he's actually got a really good international record, but in these conditions, with no spin, he's not looking that threatening. No,
it's got to be change of pace, doesn't it, and variety. Shakib, of course, would have had that, the left arm, but with the broken finger, he not here to help their attack, and consequently they've looked a little limited. And dismissed for 226. 227 is the target for New Zealand. We're going to see continuation from this end. It's Mamadullah into the attack in place of Sumaya, who bowled his 1 over for 10, and perhaps you're going to have 1 over changes. Here's Mamadullah bowls to Williamson. Williamson just waits for it and lets the ball come to him before dropping it away into the offside, and there's no run. 126 for 1 New Zealand. They've lost the wicket of Nicholls, out for 14. Guptill is 79. Williamson 25 from 35. Waits for the next delivery from Mamadullah from the Port Hills end, and Williamson back onto his stumps, just nudges it up towards long on. The man down in the deep is Mahady, and they take an easy single, just trotted through, no pressure. The asking rate is 3.4. They've got pretty much under control at the moment. It's now batting practice time, isn't it?
Yeah, one of those games where they maybe need to institute the mercy rule, don't they?
Yeah. Well, here's Mamadullah bowls to Guptill, who hoists it down to the deep, over the head of the fieldsman, over the advertising, and almost over the side screen for 6. That was effortless too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a lovely shot. Just over, slightly towards the mid-off side, down the ground. Fielder was back there, but the way that form that Guptill was in, and the way he's hitting the ball, he knew that if he got the elevation, that was going to be irrelevant.
Mamadula bowls to him again. This one has him turning it into the onside, straight to mid-wicket, where it's fielded, and there's no run. Mashrafi is in that position. No, that's Shabir. Mashrafi's on the other side at extra cover. Guptill 85 from 65. Mamadula bowls to him, and he's just nudging it up towards long on, racing in from the boundaries. Mahady, and he'll restrict the scoring to 1. Shabir wasn't able to get across quickly enough, but almost signs that the Bangladesh side have resigned themselves to a heavy defeat again, and the energy seems to have gone out of anything that they do out on the park. 134 for 1. 227 is the target, so 93 away, and we're in the 21st over. Mamadula bowls to Williamson, the last ball of the over, and Williamson drives up towards long on, just milking it for the single to rotate the strike and get the strike, because that's the end of the 21st over. 135 for 1. Guptill is 86, Williamson 27.
Some of the straight sixes that Guptill's hit in this innings, though, Brian, you have to say have been impressive, haven't they? We can talk about the bowling all we like, but you've still got to hit the ball, and a couple early on, I think up close to 100 metres, that one effortless. When he's on song, there's not many players in the world who hit down the ground as well as Martin Guptill.
A sweet striker of the ball, and interesting because we talked about his form, and one of the things about his form prior to this was that he wasn't really meeting the ball, with the full face of the bat. He had an angled bat, and we commented on it. Somebody's just asked, has he sorted that problem out? Well, quite clearly he has, because he's hitting so much straighter, isn't he? And he's not getting himself into any difficulties. Here's Mahady bowling to Williamson onto the back foot, forcing it up towards the bowler, and there's no run.
Yeah, and some of that, I think, is a little bit, the better bowlers, the quicker bowlers expose that a little bit more, but like I said, it's also a confidence issue, I think.
Mahady bowls to Williamson, full toss, and he just works it out towards mid-wicket, and there's an easy single for him. Williamson 28, Guptill 86. Runs on the board, and in good innings, confidence builds a big. You start doing things more instinctively, what you've done properly in the past. Here's Guptill driving on the ball, turning it towards square leg and getting no run. And even if you have deficiencies in your game, they are taken away by the fact that you're scoring well. You're hitting the ball the way you know how to hit the ball. As the next delivery to Guptill has him turning into the onside for mid-wicket fieldsman to pick up. But when you are in trouble, then you go back to some of those errors, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
136 for 1. Here's the next delivery to Guptill, who looks to try and swing it away on the onside. It's not been taken cleanly by the keeper. Whether he got a touch on it, I'm not too sure. We'll see from the umpire. No, it's a bye. So it touched nothing as it went past. He was trying to put that up into the crowd, I think, on the onside. And another run goes to the New Zealand total. 137 for 1. Guptill remains 86. Williamson 28.
Keeper Mushfika, he looks like he's limping as well. He didn't appear to be in too much of a hurry to chase that ball, so whether he's picked up a niggle.
Yeah, I'd probably be lipping myself at this stage. Here's Mahady bowls to Williamson, works this one onto the onside. There's no run for him though, as it goes out to they could have got a run. It was misfielded there by Saifuddin, and the over is completed. 137 for 1. That's the end of the 22nd.
Drive your new Audi to the airport. Be one of the first 60 people to buy any new Audi before the 28th of February, and you'll receive an exclusive New York experience for 2 this July. That's flights, accommodation, VIP tickets to Formula E, and more. Buy any new Audi. Experience New York electrified. Only at your authorised Audi dealership. See audi.co.nz/NYC for T's and C's.
Yo Sport.
137 for 1. Guptill back on strike as the sun joins us. It's a lovely afternoon now after the earlier issues with the weather, the overcast conditions, the cool temperatures that we had, and a little drop of rain just after play started this morning. But the forecast has come right, and now it's a very delightful afternoon. And a picnic atmosphere almost out in front of us now. People just sitting back enjoying the cricket, having a quiet one or two. and watching New Zealand achieving a target of 227. They seem to be heading along in comfortable fashion. Here's Seifert back into the attack. Bowls to Guptill. He goes onto the back foot, guides it out towards the cover sweeper. There's just the one run for him. New player out in the deep. Mominil was out there previously. Now it's Simaya Saka who's gone back to that position. About 8 minutes to get your answer in. We're getting some good answers. There's some wrong answers, I'd have to say. People not quite sure of the answer to the question, but a huge number of right answers. Here's Seifert and bowls to Williamson, wide of the off stump, left alone. Man of the match in a game 12 years ago against Bangladesh at McLean Park in Napier. Normally a test opener, batted at number 3, versatile. Innings of 83. Came off 93 balls as New Zealand beat Bangladesh by 102 runs. I'm sure everybody's got the answer. Text and do 5009. Qualifying letters MCG. Give us your name and the answer, and we'll have the draw in about 8 minutes. Here's the next delivery to Williamson. Plays it very late again, running it down to short third man, and it remains 138 for 1.
Well, how would you be able to forget an innings like that, Brian?
What, 83?
Was it 83 off 93? That's in those days. That's lightning fast in those days, isn't it?
It was, yeah. And I think it was a Duckworth-Lewis one too, wasn't it? If I remember rightly. I'm not sure whether you know the answer to that, but 138 for 1. Here's the next delivery to Williamson, wide of the off stump from Seifert, and again, a bit awkward for poor old Mushfika, down on his knees to get that one. It did a swerve after it had gone past the bat, didn't it? So get your answer in, 5009. We'll make the draw, and someone else will go into the list of those who stand a chance of being at the MCG. We'll draw that the last day of cricket this summer. Here's Seifert and bowls to Williamson. That's the ball come to him, and that's late layoff down towards third man. We've seen a couple of variations. The attempted off spinner from Seifert to look for a variation.
Last day of the cricket season. That'll be here.
Yep,
Brian.
Yeah, it'll be
day 5.
It'll be a special day.
Day 5 against Bangladesh Test match.
Yeah, well, after this we've got another 16 days of cricket, so there could be 16 more people in the draw. Here's Guptill hitting down the ground, straight again, back over the bowler's head, effortless to the boundary for 4. Again, Guptill in such beautiful touch at the moment. Goes to 91 with that boundary. The 22nd over comes to an end, 143 for 1, and it's just a clinic at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an effortless shot, and it was almost in slow motion because it was only the fielder at long on that sort of trotted around to retrieve the ball, and the other 10 Bangladeshi players all just stood and watched. And like I said, unfortunately they're just going through the motions a little bit, which from a New Zealand point of view is disappointing because they really need to be tested. I'm sure they want to be tested.
They've got to bat first, don't they, to be really tested and put a big total on and then defend it.
And that's I guess is the issue when you're starting to get towards the last opportunities in terms of games, is that Bangladesh might win the toss in Dunedin and elect to bat. So then New Zealand might not get an opportunity.
No, 143 for 1. Williamson onto the back foot, forcing it out towards cover. But we're seeing the more orthodox, conservative Williamson. That's not to say that there's a problem with that. It's just the way he plays the game. He's a risk-free player generally, isn't it? Here's the next delivery to him, and he's onto the back foot, turning it into the onside. They'll go for a run, get it 2 as the fieldsman mid-wicket fell over it. They'll end up getting 2 as the return comes in from Simaya out in the deep. But poor old Saif Udin was nowhere near that one. And that's a 100 partnership between the pair. Williamson takes 2 to lift his score to 31. So Guptill has dominated the partnership, hasn't he? He's on 91 and a 100-run partnership being posted. Guptill has scored 61 of the runs. Here's the next delivery. turned into the onside by Williamson out towards mid-wicket. And they take another run. 146 for 1. 81 required by New Zealand. And they've got 26 overs remaining. An asking rate of 3.1. That's no pressure anywhere. Here's the next delivery from Mahady, and an appeal for LBW, but I think it might have taken the bat as well as he tried to sweep it away on the onside. No. It's going down leg side.
Yes, interesting option from Guptill. I think it's probably a couple of men out there for that shot. He'd probably be better off doing what he did earlier, come down the wicket and hit him back over his head.
Well, this time he tries to go on the onside, and this one is gone in the air, and it's in the gap, tracing round to try and get it in the deep. Is Tamim, can't do so. It's gone over the boundary for 4. Well, he's going to take on the field, isn't he? That's the 150 for New Zealand. Guptill to 95. And he's looking, well, very good for another one-day 100, although if he plays too many more in the air like that, he might not.
Yeah, I think a better fieldsman out there, he might have been in trouble, but Iqbal couldn't quite reach it.
Last ball of the over, Guptill goes back and lays it off down towards short third man. He'll take a single and get the strike too as he goes to 96, and New Zealand go to 151 for 1 at the end of the 23rd over.
Hey Steve-o, check out how my bum bag goes with my snapback cap, which goes with my sunnies, and then which goes with my beaded necklace, which goes with my friendship bracelet, which goes with my anklet, which goes with my bum bag.
Davo, leave the accessorising to Toyota.
Get $1,000 of vehicle accessories free right now when you purchase any new Toyota SUV. Plus, you get all on-road costs covered with Toyota's drive-away prices. Head to your nearest Toyota store today. Terms and conditions apply.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Razine Colour Shop for expert paint and colour advice.
So New Zealand chasing down 227. Another 76 runs required. And Martin Guptill on the verge of another one-day century will take strike to the bowling of Seifuddin. 96 Guptill, and that's come from just 74 balls. Here's Seifuddin in bowling to Guptill, and Guptill works this one away to the onside, out towards mid-wicket. There's only one for him now as the fieldsman out there is safe and secure. One more run, 97. 152 for 1. We're in the 24th over, and New Zealand relentlessly pushing towards this target of 227. Only player really to contribute to the Bangladesh total is Seifuddin bowls to Williamson. He plays defensively. Was Matern, and he scored a very good 57. Sabir 43, though, were two players who contributed well in the match in Napier, and Matern, both of them really contributed to their own dismissal too, didn't they? They set themselves up into a strong position and then found ways of getting out. Williamson on strike. Here's the next delivery to him, and he gets down to third man. One more run, that just gets the strike ticking over. That's a frustrating way for a bowler to be scored from, isn't it? You give them a chance, of course they'll take it, but there's always a chance to tick the score over.
Yeah, and Williamson just doing his job for this in this little period, which is basically just to give the strike back to Guptill, even though he's, as we've seen, he's scored 15 ODI centuries. He'll still be keen to get to that milestone.
Here's Seifuddin bowling to Guptill, and Guptill works this one away on the onside. Down to deep backward square leg, racing away towards the boundary. We'll beat the field and we'll go for 4. 101 Guptill, 16th one-day 100, and the crowd rise to applaud another outstanding display by the New Zealand opener.
Well, it was a bit of a clinic from Martin Guptill. He looked in good touch from ball one, didn't he? And you felt from early on in his innings that if he didn't get himself out, there were runs to be had. And they said a terrific achievement, 16 ODI centuries is certainly not to be sneezed at.
He's Seifert in bowling to him again. He drives it down towards long on. Mamadula will do the fielding, but there's one more. 102. So he's faced, to bring up his 176 deliveries and a strike rate of 132. 158 for one now. And Guptill moves on to 102. Partnership of 113 with Williamson, leaving New Zealand just 69 runs short of the winning target, but really just a masterclass of batting that's showing how to bat at the top of the order. Here's the next one to Williamson, way over his head. That'll be called wide, is wide, as he ducks underneath it. There are many ways you can bat at the top of the order in whatever form of the game, this form of the game, but whatever it requires from you. You can have the the out and out thrash and bash, or you can have the solid professional accumulation of runs, and Guptill's done everything that's been required.
Yeah, I think that's the word, really. Professional. He's played some big shots when he's needed to or wanted to. Other than that, like I said, he's picked up singles and hit the ball hard in the gaps.
Williamson on strike, 159 for one, as the next delivery has him driving through the extra cover region. Diving effort by Masrafi, can't take the pace off the ball. The fieldsman racing round towards the boundary. We'll get it just inside the boundary. They'll complete three and complete the 25th over. Williamson to 36, Guptill 102, 162 for one, chasing 227. So the target is getting ever closer. 65 runs still required, and we'll go away and find the winner of the competition in just a moment. We'll make the big draw in the studio. It's 162 for one. New Zealand chasing 227.
Tear up the old script. It all starts now. Raise the roof, raise the noise, raise the stakes. Blues versus Crusaders, tonight at Eden Park. Tickets from Ticketmaster.
When it's time to grow your world, go with HSBC's fixed rate home loan, now 3.95% for 1, 2 or 3 years. Visit hsbc.co.nz today. Together, we thrive. Terms, conditions and premier qualification criteria apply.
Radio Sport.
And the run picked up by Williamson from the first ball of the over bowling by Mayadi. So 163 for one. Guptill is 102. Williamson is 37. And New Zealand just making their way towards this target of 227 to win the second one-day international. Take the series against Bangladesh as Guptill's down on one knee now, sweeping the ball fine. It's beaten Tamim at short fine leg, and in fact it's going to get to the boundary for four. Good shot from Guptill. Made more pace across this pitch than I thought it was going to, and just a sweep shot. So Guptill looking to accelerate, perhaps 106 from 78 balls for him, and New Zealand 167 for one as the music blares across every boundary, every over. It's playing. I think I'd bring my...
Not happy with that, eh?
I just get, well, nor are you really, if truth be known. Here's the ball played into the onside. Don't come across as a great liberal. Here's Guptill playing the next ball to mid-wicket. Don't make me the grouch.
The Grinch that stole Christmas.
Grinchy grouch. Here's Guptill coming down the pitch and turning the ball behind square for one. 107. I've just bought some noise reduction headphones.
Yes.
Have you got those?
Yes, I have. For the flights, particularly.
So good. I would have them on here. I would have the battery on, and I would just shut myself away from all of this. I'd want to hear the tapping of the bat through the sound effects. That's always a good cricketing sound, though, as Williamson drives the ball back to the bowler.
Looking around, I wonder whether they actually find out whether it's what people want.
Oh, I know. If you ask them, sometimes, just a little bit of peace occasionally, because the buzz of the crowd's a lovely noise at cricket, as Williamson drives to long on. He's 38, 169 for one. I remember watching New Zealand playing at Lord's in 2013, and that's the end of the over, so the music's back. 26 overs bowled, 169 1969, and I mean you played there, but the noise.
That's a lovely sound.
Was incredible.
Yeah, there's very nice sound there.
I said I had the 3 children there, and I took them. McCallum was captaining New Zealand that day, and in fact New Zealand in the first few days were quite competitive. And
Was that the test they lost at Lord's?
Yeah, they did.
I couldn't forgive them for that.
Well, you can imagine what it was like.
Because they were going. They won the second, and we ended up drawing the series.
Yep.
Oh
That's right.
dear!
It was a bad loss.
Bad loss.
But the point.
Because it ended up. Sorry, I have to get this out. I just got to get this off out of my.
In the same way
system.
as me and my. That got to you, didn't it?
It did get to me actually, because it was. They tried to have a noble death. It was. New Zealand needed about 320 or something like that in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And we just kept on going and kept on going and then. What surprise, we were beaten.
Yeah, it was very unpleasant actually, because I was in a corporate box with some English people, which and they were all very polite at the start. Here's Williamson taking on the arm of Tamim. He'll pick up a run. In fact, they're going to get an overthrow as it's misfielded on the overthrow by Mahdi at mid-wicket. 40 for Williamson, 171 for 1. They were very polite to me when New Zealand were doing well, and then things turned a bit, and I felt a little bit more colonial as England pushed on to victory. But it was.
But anyway, the noise.
I just walked into the ground, and you turn up, of course, at Lord's, and the fixtures written on the newspaper boards, New Zealand versus England, and the dates are there. Photograph of family outside it shortly before losing my camera to a pickpocket in Rome, but that's another story. Here's the left armour.
Leave it dangling out of your pocket.
No,
that's going to happen.
I had it. It was firmly placed inside my pocket, and I felt a little bump, and an urchin removed it. I didn't know until about 10 minutes later. They're very skillful. I thought when people warned me about.
So you were Fagin. You had your pocket picked.
I did, and it was grim because I hadn't gone to iCloud. I had all these lovely photos of our trip overseas on
that's a
sabbatical. Yeah, it was horrible. I felt it was awful. Anyway, here's Williamson playing another one of his dab shots to backward point, 171 for 1. But if I could go back to Lord's and just talk about taking the family in there for that morning, and Lisa and the 3 children were there, and we sat up and listened, and I said, just listen to the noise, and the kids, and they were wow. And then they left and went up to Oxford to stay with some friends, and I went to the Verve Clico tent and bought a bottle of vintage rosé.
Somewhat more hubbub there, I would have thought.
There's a fair bit of prattle in there, and not much of it intelligent, as Williamson drives the ball square of the wicket. 171 for 1, and then I sat and watched the afternoon session. And
most of us don't go to the Verve Clico.
Well, I was on my sabbatical,
really?
and I bought a vintage
cold
bottle.
duck tent.
Yeah. No, you won't find me there.
No.
80 quid for a bottle of reserve. Look, it was just one of those days where I was treating myself, Jeremy. I'm a very.
You were very excited. You're an excitable person.
I was excited that afternoon. It was just lovely, and I had dinner with here's Guptill going onto the back foot and playing a spear shot, really just smashing it up over cover for 4. Good shot, given width, and he got underneath it, and as Jerry Cody said earlier, if he's going to play that shot, get under it and hit it high, wide and handsome, and don't leave the fielders in the game. 111 for Guptill, 176 for 1. But it's just extraordinary just to listen, and it's the only ground. I had dinner with McCallum that night, and he said he said it's the only ground you hear the noise like that. And I don't know, is it the excitement of everyone being there? Everyone's dressed up, they've all got picnics, they can take in food, there's no people pouring stuff out at the security tents as Guptill comes forward and drives.
You can take a wine in as well, I think, a bottle of wine or so, but most people usually go in the change of innings out to the background, and they spread their blankets out, and they have it areas. In fact, they've also got nice big screens where you can stay a little longer, and you can watch what's going on, so you can extend the length of your picnic if you like while the game is actually restarted in the main ground. Well, a lot of people do that,
and they don't come back.
Oh well, I don't know about that, but yeah, they may not.
Oh, they disappear for the afternoon.
Well, it is a great event. There are lots of little areas around Lords where you can go and set yourself up. You can take your lunches also to the Harris Garden.
Yes.
There, and that's where you actually, and people will look after your, you know, they look at and keep your lunch there, and there you are.
It's spectacularly fun, and the joy about being there on that occasion was bumping into Stephen Bock was there, Stu McCullum, Brendan's father, Graham Thompson. Do you remember? Tomo, left armour, went to
sort
England
of
in '78.
He had I think a coffin which he used to keep all your cricket gear, and it was like a collapsible chemist shop. There was always something there, you know, unguents.
Here's Mahdi bowling, and onto the back foot is Williamson, clipping the ball to backward point, where Dash, who's had quite a lot to do there, picks up 177 for one. He was a very good performer in first class cricket in the 70s for Otago.
He went on the 78 tour.
78 to England, but the one that Jock Edwards went on as the reserve keeper, which surprised a lot of people. None more so than Warren Lees, I imagine. It was a strange decision, really, Jock, to go as a backup keeper on that tour, as his Mahdi bowling, and it's just a half tracker really, and Guptill will be annoyed that he doesn't pick up 4. Pulls it to square leg. Mahdi, Mahmudullah, it is Mahmudullah, my apologies, bowling from the Botanic Gardens end. Yes, so Tomo he didn't play in a test, did he? But he went on that tour, lives over in England now, and he's a great character, eccentric. And Lance Cairns was there, I remember in 2013, they were all there. Here's a well-flighted delivery from Mahmudullah. And Williamson just comes forward and defends. But if you haven't seen cricket at Lords and you ever get an opportunity to go, do, because even a county game, it's a splendid, there's no other place like it. You won't get the buzz with a county game, but it's a great place to be as Williamson plays the ball into the mid-wicket area. 179 for 1, Williamson 43, Guptill 112. I went, in my first game, I went and saw Sri Lanka there, and my great uncle took me and he said, we'll go to the Bollinger tent. And it was my first day at Lords as Mahmudullah bowls full toss, and it's driven into the cover area. Lovely shot by Guptill. 116, another boundary to Martin Guptill. 14 4s and 4 6s in his innings. It's looking easy indeed. 183 for 1. And I went with Malcolm Shannon. Sat in the Bollinger tent. I didn't see a ball bowled. We sat there all day. It was great. TV. Shameful, really. Right. So, here's the question. And then the answer is a very loopy full toss indeed, which dropped actually, in fairness to the bowler, quite quickly. You read the question and I'll give the answer. How's that? Okay. As it's the end of the over. Guptill is 117, 184 for 1, and Mahmudullah 2 overs, number 17. Right, if you can decipher Wads' writing.
Okay, well, once upon a time there was a test opener from New Zealand, and he batted at number 3 here, and they won the match. He got man of the match. It was in Napier 12 years ago. He got 83 off 93 balls, and New Zealand beat Bangladesh.
Peter Fulton had to Google to get the answer. Well, the winner is Leanne Parkin.
Well, what was the answer?
Peter Fulton.
There you go.
Yes. So the winner is Leanne Parkin. We're not sure where she's from, but she's in the final draw.
Okay. Well, good on you.
I know Leanne Parkin from Dunedin. I wonder if it's that Leanne Parkin. Who knows? But congratulations, Leanne. The answer was Peter Fulton, and he didn't have to Google it, really. He was just trying to trick our listeners, but he couldn't fool Leanne Parkin. So well done, Leanne. You go into the...
He gave himself some faint praise, though. That was a wonderful innings. That's quite fast, he said, for that particular time. Scoring, wasn't it, really?
Well, we'll ask him about the one day as he played in Bangladesh.
Well, he could perhaps take us through his innings another time.
Well, he only played a couple over there, and I think his name, I was looking at the score sheet for the second one, and he was missing. I don't think he was injured. 184 for 1 it is. So Leanne Parkin is our winner, and we've now got Mustafi's bowling, left arm over. I think he's been the best of the Bangladesh bowlers today. He's looked the best, he's got the most options. One more run to Guptill, he's 118, 185 for one it is. But he bowls a nice crisp pace, does Mustafa's. I haven't spent as much time with him, Duke. Thank you very much. Here's Mustafa's bowling and lovely drive through the covers from Williamson, whose feet starting to move a little bit better.
I was about to say, just getting a bit of rhythm to his batting and starting to play the shots flowing, kind of appropriate to the ball that we haven't seen for a few games.
What he could have done if he'd batted first.
You know, that's really, I suppose, it's been great watching the power of Guptill, but the real benefit to New Zealand is if Williamson could actually start to get those feet moving and the strokes that we know he can play, starting to see some of those coming back and returning to him.
Yeah, well, it was funny, you and I both thought the same thing with that drive, just a little bit more movement, and now he plays nicely as the ball is just short of a length, with Mustafa's going around the wicket, dropping the ball a little bit short, and Williamson just flicking ball nicely for a run. He's 46, 188 for one.
Well, the worry is, for me, Garth, is that if we look at this attack and the way New Zealand are chasing these runs down now, Latham might not get a bat in this series.
No.
And then, you know, it's not just Latham, but then it's Nisham, and then it's de Grandhomme, and then it's maybe, do we know whether Astle can bat under a bit of... Those sorts of things that are needed to be looked at.
Yep.
Can they... And you'll get that if you bat first.
Absolutely. You give yourself an opportunity to score 350. So, right, well, we're pleased with that, and we like the rhythm here. There's an appeal for caught behind. Guptill's played a pull shot. Tried to play a pull shot, and we're just going to see Mustafa's has his hands on his hips, walks back towards the umpire. There's a lot of discussion going on about whether they may or may not review it. Guptill looks completely unperturbed, as he did when Sabir demanded the review from backward point. I don't think he's got anywhere near that. So I think sensibly this time the Bangladesh players have decided not to review, even though there may have been a temptation just to try and get rid of Guptill, but I think the reality was bat was a long way away from ball. Here's Mustafa's bowling around the wicket. Guptill pulls this time, swats it, and there's going to be Dash who gets underneath it and takes the catch at mid-wicket. So Guptill just going onto the front foot, pulling a short delivery, got underneath it. It never looked like it was going to clear the fieldsman on the mid-wicket boundary, and it was Dash who gratefully held the catch straight into his hands. A straightforward opportunity for him taken. 188 for two it is, with New Zealand losing their second wicket. Guptill out for 118 from 88 balls, 14 fours and 4 sixes, and you rightly hear very good applause indeed for Martin Guptill as he departs.
Yeah, a very, very powerful, robust innings from Martin Guptill, following on from his 100, and he's filling his boots, as you should, as a top order player in one-day cricket against a side that hasn't got the level of threat in their bowling, and he's played a different kind of innings this time to the first 100, the one in Napier the other day, where it was a bit more sedate and taking his time, just the way we've seen the New Zealand captain take his time here today to work himself into some form. And it's the next game that you really see the value of that, and the way that you're quickly into shots, the feet are moving, and you're seeing the ball so much better. So really powerful innings from Martin Guptill. Has dominated the first part of this chase, and almost towards the end of this chase actually. So 188 for two, a partnership of 140 odd between these two, and he's dominated that as well. So just a terrific innings. He's played a pull stroke. It was a little bit high, but he's prepared to do that because of he's got to his 100, and other people need to at some point have a bit of a crack in these games.
Absolutely. So 39 runs required for New Zealand to win. They're 188 for two. Two batsmen have been dismissed. Nicholls out, it seemed like a fair while ago, to Mustafa's. His bowling, Mustafis has picked up both wickets, and as I said, by far the best bowler for Bangladesh. So Guptill 118, Nicholls out for 14, Williamson is 46, and Taylor has come out to the crease, 71 runs away from becoming New Zealand's highest run scorer in one-day international cricket. He won't have an opportunity just to get that today, but he'll have a chance to chip away at it and make a dent in it and get just a little bit closer to that record, which will inevitably be his. 188 for 2 it is. Mustafa's running in and bowling to Williamson, the batsman, crossing with the dismissal of Guptill. Over is called by umpire Erasmus. 188 for 2. Williamson 46. Taylor out without scoring, and that's right about the opportunity to test players in this game and to put them under pressure, as India did in Hamilton when the ball looked like it was going to seam around and move around. They won the toss and they wanted to put themselves under pressure and bat first, and they did.
They did that twice, actually.
Yeah, absolutely, and it shows a completely different approach. Now I think, and we talked about it a bit today, but this might be my last chance to say it, is just to reflect on it. I feel like New Zealand have painted themselves into a corner in terms of selection with Nicholls coming in now, trying Monroe for so long. They always knew what Monroe was going to be able to do.
They could have brought him in later on in the series and knowing.
And against Sri Lanka, they could have tried Bruce, Young rather, Will Young, and had a go and said, you're in for the next few games. I hope they do it in the test series with Bangladesh, but from what I'm seeing, there just isn't the courage around selection, and they don't seem to want to upset the family, as you said earlier. It's stick with the same, stick with what we know. The problem is when something goes wrong, you can't then bring in players who've got a little bit of experience. You bring in players who are new, and I really think they've got it wrong in a number of areas, unfortunately, but time will tell. 188 for 2 it is. Williamson is 46, Taylor yet to score, and it's Taylor facing his first ball from Mahmudullah. Just waiting as security guard is running away, having made an adjustment to the screen. Taylor is scraping at the crease, and this game's just going to gently wind its way down towards to a finish, I imagine, as Taylor's off the mark straight away, turning a ball into the odd side. It's Sumaya who comes in. They're thinking of a second run, Taylor, but then Sumaya swoops on the ball, picks it up and returns. Taylor 1, Williamson 46. And Mustafa's 2 for 30 from 7 overs, an impressive performance. There's my old friend Nigel Wheeler, who's comes out from England every year, a man of independent wealth. He's able to travel and spend a couple of months a year doing absolutely nothing. Lucky man. Here's Mahmudullah bowling, and onto the offside is Williamson, and they're going to get 2 this time as he's played it into the gap. Dash can't get to the ball fast enough to prevent that second run being taken. Williamson 48, 191 for 2.
See, now that's a lot more like Williamson as well, isn't it? He's found such a gap in order. He didn't really overhit the ball, but he was able to get 2 instead of a 1. It was a 2 because of the precise placement.
Yeah, I think it is a really good thing that's come out of today, and here he is placing it precisely again, and it's Sumaya who gets to the ball from that mid-wicket boundary. He knows exactly what Williamson's trying to do, and the Bangladeshi fieldsman does well. 1 run, Williamson 1 away from a 50, 192 for 2. But I agree with you, it's one of the really positive things. In a way, it's a pity Williamson isn't playing in the next game, and he can build on this. Latham will be captain down.
Yes, he will.
Dunedin for the 3rd of 3 games against Bangladesh. As Mahmudullah bowling, and onto the back foot is Taylor, hitting the ball crisply to Safudin at mid-wicket. Taylor on strike, onto the back foot, plays backward of point. There's a chase there for Dash from the cover boundary, won't get to that. Taylor's hit that really well. That's a very good shot from a batsman who's just come in. He's in great form, Ross Taylor. He's such a key part of this New Zealand batting lineup. 1 ball remaining in the over. Taylor is 5. It's 196 for 2.
That is a very good shot from Taylor. It's not short. In other words, you've got plenty of time to position yourself, position the body, get back, wait for it to come. It's actually quite full and outside his off stump, but he's played that beautifully and late.
He hit down on the ball. I can see Billy Abdallah would be delighted with that, the great coach. Well, that's how he used to demonstrate the cut shot, Billy. Hit down on it like that, and it's exactly what Taylor did. 196 for 2 from 30 overs. Williamson is 49. Taylor is 5. The batsman out. Guptill for 118. Nicholls for 14. New Zealand require 31 more runs.
Deutz-Fahr 4 Series tractors, the ultimate in agility and reliability, and highly suited to New Zealand's demanding work environment. The unique true 4-wheel braking system, front and rear locking differential, 30x15 transmission and comfortable cabin make the 4 Series an incredibly versatile tractor. The Deutz-Fahr 48 cabin loader combo, just $56,990 plus GST with flexible finance options. To try a Deutz-Fahr tractor, contact your local Deutz-Fahr or Power Farming dealer today. Try Deutz, buy Deutz. T's and C's apply.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Kennard Tyre. The right equipment for every job.
31 runs needed for victory for New Zealand to wrap up the series after their win in Napier, and they're doing it with ease. 196 for 2. Williamson 49 as the first ball of a new over from Mustafiz is bowled to Williamson, who just guides it down to third man. He'll come back for the second run and complete a half century for New Zealand. 51 from 66 deliveries, and an excellent hand played by Williamson, batting how we know he is capable of batting. Certainly shown those skills today. 2 fours only in the innings. 51 from 66.
That says a lot, doesn't it? That says a lot about placing singles and turning them into twos and so on, and that's what we know Williamson is so good at. It differentiates him often between just a plodding single and suddenly a couple instead, doubling it.
Mustafiz again bowls to him, and this one is a bouncer. He ducks underneath it, almost sitting on his backside as it goes over the top of the stumps to wicketkeeper Mushfiqur, and it remains 198 for 2. So 227 is the target, 29 required, and while it's been done with ease, even since the bowling of the new ball bowlers, the top order was under pressure from the outset and could only manage 226, and the 227 pursuit by the Black Caps has been pretty well perfect in terms of its execution. Here's Williamson getting a short delivery. Mustafa still putting a lot of pressure on us. In his 8th over has 2 for 32, and he looks the one likely prospect to take a wicket every time he bowls.
And I think the only other, well, he's got a whole lot of varieties too, hasn't he? I mean, he can bowl over the wicket, round the wicket, he can bowl faster. He's one of the few who can get the ball, you know, coming through at 135 plus in their bowling unit. He's more accurate, he can bowl short, he can bowl full, he's got his cutters. He's much more likely to pick up wickets.
Well, Williamson gets another delivery from Mustafiz, has him on the front foot, guiding it past the Mashrafi out towards deep cover region. Mashrafi hardly moved as it went past him and waited for the man coming in from the deep to pick up. That was Samaya Saka, and that's the 200 posted for New Zealand. 2 more to Williamson, takes him to 53. And 200 for 2, 27 runs required.
That's a good example right there of just weighting the ball into a gap. Mashrafi wasn't very happy with the sweeper, but it really, there wasn't much he could do about it. Just gently weighting it out past him and getting 2.
Mustafiz continues round the wicket to Williamson, forcing him to defend a little square on as he played that stroke, just ran along the pitch to the bowler, and this victory, well, is going to be done even quicker time than the last match.
It's what I feared might happen, Brian. They're going to get, you know, bowling out the opposition relatively cheaply and losing 2 wickets or maybe 3 maximum, and it doesn't put our other players in the middle order under pressure at all.
never really been put under pressure at any stage of the series. Mustafa's bowls another good delivery to Williamson, who just drops it away on the offside. Thought about a run for a moment, but decided against it. The end of the over, 4 runs coming from it. 8 overs, no maidens, 2 for 34, the figures for Mustafa's, and 200 for 2. We've had 31 overs, so there's still 19 to be bowled, but I don't think they're going to get the lights on tonight. Oh, there's none here. And just for...
I thought though that was actually some lights over there, but for a moment not. It's actually the cameraman way up on a crane up there.
Just because we've had 31 overs, they decided to have a drink. So it's time for drinks. 200 for 2. The target is 227, so still 227 needed. Guptill, sparkling innings again from the New Zealand Open today. 118 from 88 deliveries. Nicholls, 14 from 23. They're the players to Smith. Williamson is 53. Taylor, 5. Let's have a drinks break here at Hagley and Christchurch in the sun.
Drinks break time on Radio Sport.
Irwin Quick Grip heavy duty bar clamps can handle up to 272 kilos of sustained clamping force. So grab yourself a 2-pack of 300ml Irwin Quick Grip heavy duty bar clamps for just $69. Irwin Quick Grip clamps, available at Bunnings Warehouse. Irwin, trade strong.
At New World, our deli experts have fresh, flavourful pizzas in store daily. Perfect for when your better half invites the neighbours over and forgets to mention it to you. Enjoy an easy dinner tonight from New World. Enjoy better.
Radio Sport.
At New World, you can now shop our range online. So instead of spending summer at the supermarket, you could spend it exploring, relaxing, or sneaking out of work early for an extra night at the Bat. Yes, summer is for catching up with friends, entertaining rallies, or better yet, for doing absolutely nothing. So shop New World online and have your groceries delivered while you're spending summer, enjoying summer. Enjoy better at New World.
Radio Sports Summer of Cricket with Resine, quality paint and colours, perfect for your projects. At Radio Sport, we have high hopes for the 2019 Super Rugby season. Tonight, we have a double-header in Super Rugby. At 7:30, the Blues take on the Crusaders, live from Eden Park. Then, at 9:30, we head over to Sydney as the Hurricanes take on the Waratahs.
That Moldal score! Jacobson to the line and try!
Super Rugby 2019, live and free on Radio Sport.
Hurry, no Lemmings Giant store-wide clear-out ends soon. Get the amazing Huawei P20 smartphone for only $699, or the JBL Charge 3 portable speaker, only $188. Plus, get 60 months interest-free store-wide. Ends Tuesday. Conditions apply. Only at No Lemming.
At New World, our deli experts prepare fresh salads and hot chickens every day. Perfect for when teacher interviews and swimming lessons and Nana's Bowls tournament fall on the same night. Enjoy an easy dinner tonight from New World. Enjoy better.
Radio Sport.
Drinks are over and 19 overs left to be bowled, but we won't be needing all those 19 overs because there are just 27 runs required, and the New Zealand have enjoyed yet another good day without anywhere near the pressure, and well, they'll have learnt a few things about their own game, but not a game under pressure. I think they'll know that the batting of Martin Guptill is back to some of its best. 2 centuries in successive matches. You know, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So it just shows the sort of form that Guptill is in now, and that is a welcome sign.
Yeah, but that was a different kind of innings today, wasn't it? Because of the first one. That was a much more authoritative innings. As I said, I'm going to take you by the scruff of the neck, bowler.
Yep. Sabir, who bowled 1 over for 13, back into the attack, bowls to Taylor, who just leans forward and plays it into the onside. Yeah, but he would have got real confidence from that last innings. He played his shots with that sort of assurance and certainty, didn't he? Never needing to take a risk. I think he did when he got out. Bit of a risk,
He
but
was
that was,
yes, it was.
at that stage, let's finish the game. Here's Taylor onto the back foot, cuts it to a backward point. There's no run for him though, as it's slightly misfielded, but retrieved as quickly as it was missed, and not allowing a run from being taken. Just acknowledges that he got a whack on the needed Mamadula as he fielded that one.
This is where Taylor's got to get it through cover.
200 for 2. Taylor drives up through mid-on, so he's not going to bother with cover.
No, not that
I'll go
time.
somewhere else this time. And
rather than cutting was my point.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see him, when the two men are back there like that and he can't get it through, then he's got to come across and just create a different angle for himself.
But as a captain, I would look at doing something different rather than allow singles up through mid-on with the monotonous regularity with which they've been taking them. Here's severe bowls to Williamson, who's on the front foot, full stretch, driving past the bowler who can't pick it up and it's followed through. Goes out to a long off where the man in the deep is side foot in, and one more to the total. Williamson is 54. Taylor is 6. 202 for 2.
No, well, I'm afraid running your way to victory now is kind of, which is stopping all those singles. I don't know whether they got bowlers to really build up the pressure.
No. Here's Taylor driving through mid-off for his single, and they walk it almost. Taylor's down to a walk, and he's still got 2 or 3 metres to go to the popping crease. One more to Taylor, 7. Williamson, 54. 3 runs from the over. Runs coming at will at the moment. Here's Williamson back onto his stumps and driving up the back foot out towards cover. Signature shot from Kane Williamson, playing nice and straight, getting into position, hitting it into the gap and searching for that gap rather than hitting directly to the field. One more to Williamson, 55. Taylor 7. The end of over number 32, 204 for 2. So we've got 23 runs still to be scored. That from my secondary school maths class.
Good.
Worked it out. Also the fact that it's written on the score sheet in front of me.
What from your perspective have we got out of the bowling issue? Because that's really all we had time to look at today. We've talked about the batting. What did we do? Henry
is making a strong claim to be the new ball partner for Bolt.
Ferguson
Ferguson has to be used differently, to my mind.
Yeah.
For the short, sharp burst and get him out again, and if he's taking wickets, you keep him on. But here's Mustapha's again, first ball of a new over to Williamson, laying it off down to third man. Another single for him, goes to 56, 205 for 2, Williamson.
Well, I think he actually came out with quite a lot today, I thought. Ferguson, I thought we could see him more at the death. We didn't see him under pressure at the death.
No.
But he's at least starting to bowl there, and I think if Southey isn't going to be operating, he kind of has to accompany Bolt during those last, 46 to 50 overs, 2 each. He's got to really be the person to go there. And in the first part of those 40, 41, 42, 43, that's where you might have 1 from Henry maximum, and then you maybe use someone like Santner.
Mustapha's bowls to Taylor, and Taylor gets one down the leg side. That'll be called wide by umpire Murray Erasmus. 1 more to the total, 206 for 2, 21 required.
And maybe Nisham. Just not too many.
Yes.
I mean, he bowled too many today, and it was bowling the 50th, but that's how it happened.
But he still bowled tidily and was capable of taking a wicket in that situation, which is what you want as well, don't you?
No, if you can, certainly.
Yeah, to finish off an innings. But I think that the use of the bowlers is, to my mind, still under discussion, or up for discussion. Here's Taylor nudging it into the offside. I'll take 1. Williamson had to stretch to get home, and they're going to get an overthrow, are they? Taylor's going to have to stretch to get home, and it didn't really matter because the fieldsman couldn't pick it up. So who did? 2 more to the total, 208 for 2.
I mean, New Zealand were a little bit, they were assisted by conditions, I felt today a bit. I don't think we're going to see quite so much as that, so they might be under a little bit more pressure throughout their innings, their bowling efforts.
Well, they would have probably dismissed Bangladesh for a lot more had they taken catches. I think I recall about 6 missed or going down, some of them moderately hard. Mustapha's bowls to Taylor, and he's defending the ball into the offside. Still bowling good line and good areas, Mr. Fizz, the left armour. 208 for 2. So, for one reason or another, the fielding was below standard today, to my mind. The catching in particular. Some of the ground fielding at times got a little bit sloppy. It was almost a lack of concentration or focus, to my mind, because we know that this New Zealand side fields better than we've seen in a couple of games this year. We remember back to the game where they dropped 5 catches in Mount Maunganui. 208 for 2. Mr. Fizz bowls again to Taylor, and Taylor forced to defend. Nice straight bat, firm punch of the ball up towards mid-off.
And I think we talked about the line, that there's plenty of room for a bit of improvement there as well. But we did start to see some
wides.
That's what I mean, the line.
Yeah.
And so, yep, that has to be worked on.
Well, I'm not sure that's the line. I think that's just poor bowling.
Well,
you know, that a bowler's not able to, after all the bowling he's done this year, get that line at this stage of the season. Here's the next one to Taylor. He's got an edge as he slashes down towards the boundary. The fieldsman dives, can't get to it. It's gone over the rope before. Taylor a top edge. Get him quick, he said. Goes to 13, 212 for 2.
Yeah, big cut. He's got a top edge. Mustafa's got the edge, and Mushfiqur, the wicket keeper, diving away to his right. I think he got a glove on that, a right-hand glove as he goes hard. Yes, it's just pushed up and then bounced from there and gone across the boundary with a despairing dive from third man. Couldn't get there.
Well, Mustafa's is still testing the batsman out. The one bowler that's been able to do that. Extra effort, bounce in that one, and Taylor was undone by the bounce. 212 for 2. Taylor is 13. Williamson 56. Last ball of the 33rd over. The left arm is going to go over the wickets. Yeah, so New Zealand have been generally efficient. At times a little scruffy. But nothing that can't be repaired with.
They weren't hurt today because of the scruffiness. And
No,
that's
but
the issue.
you can be. That's the point.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, you bowl 17 or however many wides. You know, that can cost you big time in an important game. 212 for 2, and Taylor gets one which cramps him up a little bit. He forces it to point. The slipper's been put in place. Is that Musrafi who's gone in there? I'm not sure. Probably has. 33 overs completed, 212 for 2. Another 15 required.
So Mustafa's now 9 overs, 1 over remaining. They should bowl him out. 212, so we're coming right towards the end of this.
If it gets to him.
Yeah, well, yeah, 15 to get at this stage. Expect the.
No, he's had enough.
Oh, he is going off. I've had enough.
He's got the pip.
9 overs, 2
9 overs for 42. New Zealand scoring at very, very respectable 6.4 and over, and that just indicates the dominance they've had with the bat. We're going to see Shabir Rahman to continue, and he's going to bowl from the Botanic Gardens end in bright sunny conditions. So a lovely way to finish the day for the fans who've come along to this game and given it good support. It's an excellent crowd watching from the embankment. Williamson tapping the bat on the ground as Shabir bowls to him. He drives a full toss down towards long on. He'll take one and take his score to 57. 213 for 2, 14 required. Shabir bowls to Taylor, who goes onto the front foot and square drives out towards the cover sweeper, takes a single, goes to 14. Williamson 57, 214 for 2. The Hagley Oval members in their blazers, proudly worn on a hot day. Very distinctive. Sartorial elegance. Here's the next one to Williamson, forcing him back onto the stumps to drive it up towards long on. Takes another single. 215 for 2. 58 Williamson. 14 Taylor, their partnership with 27. So it was only ever going to be a short partnership anyway after the departure of Guptill, but it's just continuing on. And the point you make about seeing some of these other players, we may not. So be it bowls to Taylor, he goes onto the back foot, working it out towards mid-on or mid-wicket. Again, poor piece of fielding, and it's got through for a single. Taylor to 15, Williamson 58. The end is nigh, and the nigh is almost upon us. Here's the next delivery to Williamson onto the back foot, forcing it out towards cover. Good piece of fielding there. It prevented the ball from getting away. It's Mamadullah who's been pretty workmanlike in the field. Mamadullah, Samaya, they've done some good work in the field. Should be a bowls to Williamson. Back cut again, straight to Mamadullah. And the end of the 34th over. 216 for 2. 11 runs required. Williamson 58, Taylor 15, and Garth Galloway will bring up the victory shortly.
Well, it's, with New Zealand at a run rate of over 6, they're going to win this match probably by 15 overs. So there's another 100 runs in the bank there for New Zealand if they'd used up their overs. So this is the equivalent, if you like, of a total of 320, and probably as a minimum, really, because the way that the New Zealanders have set up their side, having the big hitters Nisham and de Grandhomme just further down, and left hand, of course, Latham, that'll create a few more opportunities for other right-handers as well, as you get the left-right operating together. So I think they can be relatively happy with the way that the batting has gone today. Yes, a lot of people say Nicholls.
Mahdi bowls to Taylor, comes forward and takes 1 run, so just 10 required.
I'll say Nicholls, perhaps a little slow to get underway, but he had 23 balls for his 14, cut the boundaries and then picked out the man at backward square, and he'll be disappointed there. But they haven't got any choice with that, having made their decision. They've got to stay with him.
Well, they made their bet with Monroe and it didn't work, and they should have done different things, I'm afraid, as Williamson is playing into the onside. No change to the score, 217 for 2. Mahdi, the off spinner, 6 overs and 2 balls, none for 37. Here he is bowling again from the Port Hills end. This is darted in, and Mahdi makes a good diving save off his own bowling. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, other option, I suppose, is Latham that we've talked about, but again, that would be throwing him in at World Cup time, having not really, not without much experience in terms of opening in one-day international cricket, as the next ball's turned into the onside a bit, but not much.
And then of course you need another keeper. So if you're going to do that,
you'd have you'd have to look at Blunder, wouldn't you? Or Watling. Here's the next ball driven back to the bowler. No change to the score, 217 for 2. So there are lots of permutations. I think the team, the selectors, I suspect, I've got a good idea of what they want, but I do see, generally you can, as the next ball's driven down the ground by Williamson, and it is Rubel Hussain who's on the field, and Fields, so a couple of runs coming from that over from Mahdi, 7 overs done for 38, Williamson 59, Taylor 16, but there's some good healthy discussion around it and good debate around it, and that's a good thing for the game.
Yeah, sure.
Not everyone has to agree with the establishment. So it's going to be Williamson on strike, and it has been a bonus to see him getting back into some semblance of Kane Williamson form. 59 from 83 balls. Guptill 118 from 88. So a terrific effort, a strike rate of 134. Just coming into some pretty commanding form as Williamson drives the ball down to long off, just ambles through for his 60th run. It's 219 for 2, so 8 runs required for New Zealand to win the series against Bangladesh. And most of the crowd staying to see the game's last rites being delivered to Bangladesh as the next ball from Sabir is driven again down to long off. It's Taylor playing that shot. He's 17. Williamson 60. 220 for 2. Guptill up for 118. Nicholls for 14. Williamson 60 not out, Taylor 17 not out, and it's the New Zealand captain Williamson on strike. He comes forward and drives. All very easy indeed at the moment for them. It's Dash who fields on the cover point boundary. One more run to the New Zealand skipper, 61 for Williamson, 221 for 2. And Brian Waddle's headed out, has he? Taken his microphone and off hunting the interview. The intrepid journalist.
Keep an eye on him.
Setting off as I will keep an eye on him. Setting off as here's a slashing drive by Taylor, but he can't beat Mashrafi at backward point. 221 for 2. 6 runs needed, and a comprehensive win in the 36th over. Now onto the back foot is Taylor. You hear him calling yes, and that's a beautiful shot, and no chance at all for Dash at backward point rather. He only had to make about 20 metres to get to the ball, but the ball was running away from him on the angle, and a lovely shot by Taylor. He's 21. It's 225 for 2, just 2 runs required for New Zealand to win this match, and then we can summarise it. And Brian Waddle no doubt will have an interview for us as well, as Sabir is just looking around at his field, presumably not going to make too many changes. Here he is running in a bowling now. Taylor onto the back foot, no run, as Mashrafi winds up at point and gets to the ball now and makes sure that no run is taken. So it's going to be Williamson who'll have the opportunity to hit the winning runs. He's on 63, 225 for 2, and I imagine it will be Mayadi bowling from the Port Hills end to the New Zealand captain, and just a couple of runs to go. Music turning up, waking up some of these crowds. There's a few people who look like they've had a very good afternoon here, Jeremy. Just the cheeks are a little bit redder than the start of the day.
A bit ruddy.
Yes, and it's not sunshine induced. It's just from the pleasures of Bacchus. As
bit of bacchanalia.
I don't mind a bit of that. Here's the runs are hit by Williamson. He gets a full toss and drives it through the covers for 4. Game over. Williamson 65 not out from 86 balls. Taylor 21, and New Zealand have won this match comprehensively by 8 wickets in 36 overs and 1 ball required to knock off Bangladesh's total of 226. It took them nearly 50 overs. The innings coming to an end after in the 50th over. So the batting for New Zealand, Nicholls out for 14. Guptill a splendid 118 from 88 balls, 126 minutes, 14 fours and 4 sixes, and not out. Williamson 65 from 86 balls, just 3 fours, so he really was just spending time at the crease, working the ball around and doing so very effectively. And then Taylor, who was 21 not out. The bowling figures for the Bangladeshis: Mashrafi 6 overs, none for 37. Saifuddin none for 44 from 6. Mayadi 7 overs and 1 ball, none for 42. Mustafis 9 overs, 2 for 42. Sabir 4 overs, none for 28. Sumaya 1 over, none for 10. And Mahmudullah 3 overs, none for 25. And warm applause for the New Zealand captain Kane Williamson. I'm now joined by Peter Fulton and Jeremy Coney. Peter, tell me what New Zealand take out of today.
Not a great deal that they didn't already know, I don't think. I think Matt Henry, as you were discussing earlier, is, I think it's almost certain that he'll be taking the new ball for the first game of the World Cup for New Zealand ahead of Saudi. I think probably the only person who did themselves or didn't do themselves any favours today was probably Colin de Grandhomme with the way he bowled. you know, he's probably you know, just put a little question mark there if there wasn't already one, you know, because in those conditions he should have been. There was some swing and a little bit of nibble, and you would have thought that was the conditions where he would bowl really well. And yeah, he's just out of character to be that sort of wayward, I guess.
Yeah, if he's not going to bowl better in these sorts of conditions, he's not going to get better an opportunity than with the ball actually giving a little bit of movement and also nipping off the seam as well. He ain't gonna cut it, I'm afraid. I mean, he's also got a method that he wants to bowl at about a 7th stump, and I'm not sure about that.
Here's Brian Waddle. We'll cross to Brian Waddle, who's got a player to interview.
Yeah, Jimmy Neesham, another efficient, well-played performance by the side today.
Yeah, clinical is the word that comes to mind. I think the seamers, the big boys up top again, were fantastic, and we probably put it together a little bit better through the middle with the bowling to keep them to a lower score than last game, and obviously the way Guppy and Towie started the innings off got us going at a real good clip, and then Nossi and Ross just came in and finished it off.
Yeah, and a sort of new role for you, a few overs in the middle and then the death.
Yeah, I've bowled a fair bit at the death, to be fair, in the past. I think it's a skill that I have. It's something I've done for Wellington a fair bit this season as well, so it wasn't new to me, but Nossi obviously wanted to have a bit of a longer go with the big boys up the top, see if we can get some better inroads, but yeah, always prepared to come back at the end there.
Yeah. Couple of disappointing factors about the job in the field: drop catches and wides. Was that a concern to the team?
Yeah, obviously we want to be better in those facets of the game. I think we do a lot of training, a lot of work on the fielding especially, and some days you go out there and it doesn't happen for you, but I think yeah, we'll be looking to be more accurate. I think the ball was zipping around a bit, swinging around a bit as well, which can make it a little bit difficult for the seamers, but that'll definitely be something we want to clean up a little bit going to the last game of the series.
I guess we all look at you as a batting all-rounder, but Martin Guptill is taking the batting out of your game at the moment. You've missed out a couple of times now.
Yeah, you want to get out there and have a bat as well, but I think if there's one good reason to not be doing it, it's when you have the guys at the top doing the job and meaning that you don't have to. So I'm always willing to contribute whatever I'm called for, whether it be bowling or batting, or I'll have a keep if they want me to as well. But yeah, more than happy to do whatever as long as we win.
Yeah, Martin Guptill was in great touch.
Yeah, he's in fantastic touch. I think we have a little bit of a giggle in the change room sometimes when people write articles about him struggling, and we always know that big runs like that are around the corner, and I thought the quality of his ball striking took another step up today from the last game, and hopefully he can take it forward to the next game as well.
It's a series one, you've got to go to Dunedin, but it's still an important game. You've got to lift your standards even more, don't you?
Oh, every game you play for New Zealand is an important game. I think for a few of us it's the last white ball game of the summer, last game for New Zealand for the summer potentially, so you always want to put your best foot forward, and a 3-0 series definitely sounds a lot better than a 2-1.
Yeah, something to enjoy. Congratulations, go and enjoy it.
Thanks, mate.
Jimmy Neesham there with reaction to the performance today, and needless to say, Martin